If you find yourself waking up bloated in the morning or sluggish and feeling uncomfortable after a big meal, or maybe you just can't seem to fit in those skinny jeans, well, listen up. I've got a couple of tips to share with you on number one, why you're probably bloated, and number two, how to banish that bloat. But before we dive in, I'm Kate Horning. I'm a chef and nutritionist. I'm also the creator of A Healthy Passion, and I'm insanely passionate about gut health so we can better understand how to fuel our bodies so we can look and feel our best. Okay, so reason number one, you're probably bloated, and how to fix it is you're probably eating too many simple carbohydrates, too much sodium, and too many processed foods. So if you find yourself hitting the drive-thru or heating up dinner in the microwave, it could lead to your bloating, more than likely. And the reason why is that our body doesn't know what to do with processed foods. Most processed foods actually mimic the real thing, and they're devoid of the nutrition that our body needs. So more often than not, it just kind of sits in our stomach and we don't know what to do with it. Also, foods that are higher in fat will slow down digestion and kind of, again, make that food sit and start to create actually more bad bacteria in our gut versus healthy whole foods fueling good bacteria in our gut. So again, if you guys are eating a lot of processed foods, that's definitely a contributing factor to the bloat, and an easy way to do that is just to start to cut it out. And I'm a big fan of making it lifestyle friendly. So if you are that lady that's running through the drive-thru or that guy that's picking up a lean cuisine for dinner, what I recommend you do is just start with one thing. Start eliminating one thing, master it, onto the next thing. Also, sodium. Again, you're gonna find a ton of sodium in high processed foods or fast foods. So really, again, cutting down that sodium will really help your body to be more hydrated and also a lot less bloated. Reason number three, while you're probably a little more bloated than you wanna be, is not enough good bacteria. And if you're not familiar, our body actually has over 1 trillion bacteria found in our gut. And while some of it is bad, we really want to focus on improving the good bacteria. Good bacteria is there to help with boosting our immune system, help, again, break down and digest food, help with mood, prevent depression. 70% of our immune system is actually in our gut, so much goodness happens in the gut. And when we have too much bad bacteria in there, a lot of that slows down and we don't get what we need to out of our diet. So what I recommend you do is look for a good high quality probiotic. It can come from food, which is typically my preference, but it can also come from a supplement. So, something like kimchi, kefir, kombucha, those are all great real food sources of probiotics. But again, if it's easier for you to start out with just a supplement, that's great too. And what will happen there is that will actually populate and feed more of that good bacteria and push out the bad bacteria. And what happens with that is when you have more good bacteria, it's breaking down everything in your body, therefore banishing that bloat. Okay, the next reason why you could be experiencing a lot of bloating is because you're consuming too many artificial sugars or sugar alcohols. And artificial sugars have kind of got a bad rap for a little while. Things like sucralose, those are known to cause a lot of diseases, cancer, things like that. So people are kind of backing off of them, but they're still found in so many foods today. I'm shocked when I look at like protein shake labels or protein bar labels of like health brands, how many of them contain artificial sugars. Now, the problem with artificial sugar is that our body doesn't know what to do with it. It's not a real food, so our body doesn't know how to digest it, how to break it down. And the other issue is that when we eat something with artificial sugar in it, our body doesn't get the calories that it's expecting. It tastes something sweet, but there's no calories to follow. So it actually causes us to crave more food, look for more sugar, and potentially overeat, which is never comfortable. The other thing we want to look for is sugar alcohols, and those are actually found in a lot of our healthier foods, healthier processed foods, which again, no processed foods are healthy, but you'll see a lot of like your health food brands that have sugar alcohol in them, so things like xylitol. And the problem with those is, again, our bodies just don't know what to do with it. So it actually gets in the way of breaking down food, it stays undigested, it actually causes a lot of like bloating, uncomfortable feeling, a lot of gas, it can cause diarrhea. So really keeping an eye out for foods like that. Again, if you just look at real food, that's gonna be the best bet. But if you are somebody who eats foods in packages, always look at the package and make sure there's no artificial sugar, no sugar alcohols. Now, if you do wanna add in something that's gonna be a sweetener that's not gonna have sugar in it, I'm a big fan of stevia. That's kind of my go-to, and it typically doesn't affect people the way that some of your other sugar alcohols might. So that's the best bet there if you do want that sweetener without the sugar. But again, real food, always your best bet, especially if you're... So reason number 5, you might be bloated, and this one might come as a surprise to you, is that you are sitting too much. So actually moving our bodies stimulates digestion. I don't know if you've ever heard like people talk about, I just had a big meal, I'm gonna go for a walk. Well, there's something to be said for that, because actually moving our bodies really helps to get our digestive system going and better break down the food, better assimilate nutrients from the food, and helps to kind of get everything moving along, if you know what I mean? So studies have shown that even moderate intensity exercise, so like going for a walk or a bike ride after a big meal, can help up to 50% with digestion. So again, if you're having a big meal, can't quite feel comfortable in those jeans, try going for a walk, see what happens. Reason number 6 you might be dealing with uncomfortable bloating is that you aren't getting enough time to fully digest each meal. So I personally am a big fan of intermittent fasting, and what that means basically is having a time of day where I eat and a time of day where I don't. And what I typically do is I like to cut off my eating at night and then digest my food all night long. So in the morning I wake up feeling, well, great, and I have a flat tummy. So typically if you are getting started with intermittent fasting or any sort of just digestive rest, I recommend at least 10 to 12 hours to start that. So again, stop eating dinner, don't eat again for 10 to 12 hours. It's a great time for your body to just sort of digest your food and repair. I think that a lot of us, when we're eating, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and then we wake up and first thing we do is eat in the morning, our body's always trying to digest food, and it sort of gets backed up and piled up, and we're never able to fully digest. So giving your body that little bit of digestive rest is a really great tool, especially if you're feeling bloated, but honestly for anybody, if you want to prevent bloating and really make sure that your body gets the most out of every meal that you eat. Okay, so the next reason why you might be bloated is from carbonated foods. And I think a lot of us, we think, oh, like a LaCroix or some sort of sparkling water, that's so healthy. And while it's a much healthier alternative to like a soda, it still contains carbonation or carbon dioxide gas. And what happens when we consume that is it kind of stays in our belly and starts to form bubbles. So while there's nothing wrong with carbonated drinks, I think that if you are struggling with bloating, it's something to look at, maybe cutting back on or cutting out and seeing how that makes you feel. And my solution to cutting that out is always to replace it with something else. So I'm a big fan of, if you are making a shift in your lifestyle, don't just get rid of something, but add in something else. And what I love to do is add in something like a turmeric tea or a ginger tea. Ginger's so good for digestion. Turmeric's so good for inflammation. Peppermint is another really good thing to kind of help with bloating, digestion, inflammation. So come up with a different little ritual. When you are craving something that's bubbly and fizzy, try to find something else that's gonna make you feel a little bit better and really help to decrease that bloating. And my last tip, if you are struggling with bloating or want a flatter belly, is to hydrate. And I think this is kind of counterintuitive because we think, oh, drinking a ton of water is gonna make my belly puff out. But actually bloating comes from when we're dehydrated because our body's not really sure when it's gonna get more water. So it stores water in the form of bloating as kind of a protective mechanism in case we don't get access to water anytime soon. So what I recommend is at least half your body weight in ounces in water a day. Again, I always tell people as much as you can possibly get in, go for it. There's really not a way you're gonna go too much water unless all you do is drink water, which is all you're going to be doing is peeing. So really just try to strive for at least your half your body weight in ounces a day, but if you can go more, go more. And by being fully hydrated, it'll actually flush out that bloat. So again, if you're struggling with bloating, definitely give these tips a try. I hope they're helpful for you. If any of them work, let me know in the comments below, and make sure that you subscribe because we don't want you to miss any of our videos or any of our tips or any of our recipes. They're all amazing for helping you live your healthiest and happiest life. So hit the little subscribe button and we'll see you in the next video.